The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Equestrian Queensland webinar, which is being presented by Anita Marchesani on the truth behind social media. So hopefully you can all hear. If you can't, please just give us a wave or let us know now, and hopefully you can see the screen. So there should be a presentation on there. Now Anita will answer any of your questions as we go through. So there should be a box where you can ask any questions that you've got as we go through the presentation. So I'll hand over to Anita.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Christine. Thanks so much for inviting me tonight to have a chat to everyone. I haven't done a webinar for a little while, so hopefully I'm not too rusty. I've got a lot of information to share with everyone today, so I will talk very, very quickly. That's just kind of how I talk normally, so I apologise for people, but I've been told there is a recording, so we can always go back and have a listen. And like Christine said, do please ask any questions as they come up. There will definitely, well, hopefully be time at the end for questions. But if something comes up, I like doing quite interactive sessions, whether I'm doing them in person or if I'm doing them online. So if something comes up and people have got questions, just type them into the little question box. I should see them. Hopefully they'll catch my eye and I'll be able to answer them as I go. So I'll just tell you very, very quickly a little bit about myself, so you've got a little bit of context if you haven't come across me before. So yeah, my name's Anita Marchesani. My business that I'm in at the moment is called Get Up and Gallop, and basically what I do right now is I coach and mentor people who have their own businesses in the either the pet or the equine business area, in the pet or equine industries. So I'm working with horse riding coaches, with riding schools, with retail businesses, with dog trainers, with a whole bunch of range of different businesses within those industries. And a lot of what I do is helping them with their sales and their marketing, their processes, developing products, things like that. So previous to that business, I had a little business which you may have heard of, which is called BitBank Australia, which I've sold a number of years ago now, and which is doing fantastically with the new owners. And very much looking forward to catching up with Charmaine at Equitana in a couple of weeks. So my history in terms of online marketing, pretty much for the last, let's say easily 6 years, the only marketing I've really been doing has been in the online field, unless it's actually getting in front of people and giving presentations such as this, or at conferences and things like that. So I've had a lot of experience, and I've started my first business 10 years ago, which was kind of when Facebook was really starting to kick off. So I've been around and seen a whole bunch of changes and evolutions in terms of what goes on with online marketing and social media along the way, including what they called the Facepocalypse, which was when everyone got their advertising accounts deleted for breaking a whole bunch of rules. So I've seen a whole bunch of evolutions and changes in terms of the way that we do social media. And it's also been really interesting for me. I'm possibly a little bit older than some of you guys. I'm in my 40s, so I'm one of those weird people that's been around since before the internet. So I can still remember days when there wasn't any email, there wasn't any internet, and there definitely wasn't any social media. So I've got an interesting perspective when it comes to essentially what I call social media occupational health and safety, and I'm going to share some of that stuff with you towards the end. But where I want to get started is basically share with you some of my insights around what social media is, what it can be for you and your business, or if you're working in someone else's business in the equine industry, how you can best utilize it to connect with the people that you're here to help. And a few things that you need to avoid, because they're not going to be helpful for you anymore. Whether they were helpful for you previously, we're not quite sure. But let's get into the content, because I've got, like I said, a whole lot to cover, and I'm going to end up having to talk really, really quickly. So let's just move on. Okay, the very first rule when it comes to social media stuff. Oh, actually, before I get started, can someone just type something into the question box so that I know that you guys can hear me and that you've found the question box? Maybe just say hi, or in the chat box. That'd be really cool. Anyone? I just need to know that someone's out there and that you guys can hear us okay. Anyone at all going to be really brave and put their hand up in the question box?
We've got a few there, Anita.
Oh, I'm not seeing those, Christine.
Huh.
So you might have to let me know when there's questions popping in, because none of those are showing up on my end.
Sure, will do.
Sorry about that. I'll keep the box open in case it comes up, but I'm definitely not seeing those. Okay, cool. So I'm glad I checked that, because I didn't want to have to just keep barreling through and missing everyone's questions. Okay, the golden rule when it comes to anything to do with marketing, whether we're doing it on social media or elsewhere, for me, it's always about starting with the end in mind. That's all about thinking about what the purpose is of any particular activity you're doing with your marketing. So if you're putting together a post, if you're creating an ad, if you're putting out an event, what is the actual thing that you want to happen as a result of you putting out that post? It might be something really simple like, I want someone to click through to my website, or I want someone to sign up to a clinic I'm running, or I will just want them to think about something in a different way. Okay, so whenever we're doing any activity in our business, and this is really important, I've got this real thing that's been a real theme for me, my clients this year, and it's been about decluttering your business. So if you're doing stuff either in your business or in your workplace that doesn't have a purpose or that doesn't serve your end goal, then there's not really any point to doing it. Okay, we've got enough on our plates as it is. There's enough going on in our busy lives. So if we're not doing activity that is serving us and helping us get to our end goal, then there's no point in doing it. Same thing with social media. And I know it's one of those things where everyone says that you have to be on social media, but if you don't have a purpose behind it, absolutely no point to doing any of those activities whatsoever. So we always need to start with the end in mind. Now, I'm going to walk you through this really, really briefly, because this is like a whole other webinar in itself. But what essentially this is it walks you through what we call the psychological journey of your prospects. And your prospects are people that you could help with your business or with what you do, but they're not customers or clients just yet. Now, what happens with most people's marketing is they're dropping their marketing in around here. So they're looking for people that are already product aware. They know what they want to buy. They're just shopping around for it. Okay. When someone's most aware, that's when they've made a purchase and they've become a customer or a client. But most people's advertising or marketing on social media is aiming to get these people here, the people who know what they want, and they know they're basically just shopping around for it. They're trying to find where they can get it from and the best price. Now, if we can be a little bit more strategic with the marketing that we're doing, either on our social media or elsewhere, we can start having conversations with people a little bit earlier. Because if we look at the number of people who we're able to help, 5% of our prospects are sitting here. Okay, we've all come across those people that we've seen out in the wider world, and we've looked at them and gone, oh my goodness, I could help that person if only they knew this one thing, right? But they're completely unaware that they have the problem, let alone that there's a solution to their problem. Okay, so if 5% of our possible prospects are sitting here, 95% of the people that you can help are sitting down around here. They're either completely unaware that they have a problem at all. Maybe they're aware that they have a problem. Maybe they're feeling a little bit of pain and discomfort, but they don't quite know what the solution is. Or maybe they're at the point where they know that there could be a solution to their problem, but they don't know what that looks like yet. Okay? So when we're having conversations on our social media, we can start opening people's minds to the possibility, or encouraging a little bit of curiosity, or showing a little bit of empathy, and asking them to look at things in a slightly different way. And if we can connect with people way back here in our marketing, when they're completely unaware that they have a problem, and suddenly make them aware of the problem, and then show them that there could be a solution, and then say, well, actually, if you want that solution, here's how I can help you, then that sales process is going to be a hell of a lot easier. They're going to be a lot less price conscious because you've already been with them on this journey. And most of all, you've given them this breakthrough down here, which is the most important stage, right? And I know you guys have all had that experience. It's really easy to think of a moment when perhaps you were having a riding lesson, for example, because we're all horsey people here, so I know you're all going to align with this one. You've been having a riding lesson with someone, and the coach has said something to you in a way that no one has ever said before, or you felt something differently, or you've tried something a little bit differently, and suddenly something makes sense, right? That's that breakthrough moment. That's taking you from being unaware to being a little bit more aware. If you can do that in your marketing, if you can do that in your social media, if you can do that with your storytelling, it gives you the opportunity to have marketing conversations with people a whole lot earlier than just these 5% here that are ready to buy and are simply shopping around for the most convenient option. So that's a really brief run through of how that works, just to sort of open your minds a little bit to the possibilities of what kind of conversations we can have with people on social media and the purpose behind them, what we want to achieve with those conversations. Now, when it comes to pretty much every business model, and that includes people working with horses and working with animals, there's essentially only ever 3 components, okay? You need to do the marketing, and then there's sales, and then there's the delivery, so actually providing the product or the service. Now, without any of these 3 components, your business is not in existence, okay? It's certainly a very simple thing, but it's absolutely not easy, okay? Getting the marketing right and generating a steady stream of leads, or the number of leads that your business needs, is not an easy thing to do. Mastering your sales process so that you're having good conversations with new prospects, so that you're turning those people into customers and clients, that's not easy either. And even sometimes the delivery can present its own problems. But if you haven't got a sales process, you can be generating as many leads as you possibly can, but you're still not going to be able to deliver your product or service. And if you're not generating the leads that you need to have through your marketing, there's no one to make any sales to. So again, you're not going to be able to deliver your product or your service. So we really need to keep in mind, when we're looking at the purpose of what we're doing with our marketing online, it has to come down to generating leads. And that's an inquiry, okay? That's someone putting up their hand and saying, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about what you do? Can I book in with you? Can I book a clinic? Can you tell me how you can help me? I heard that you were really good at helping so-and-so. Can you explain that a little bit more to me? That's the kind of stuff that your marketing needs to do. Your sales process should always be seen as something separate to your marketing process. And again, that's a whole other webinar, which we're not going to get into today. But a lot of people tend to lump marketing and sales into the same bucket. And I think it's really important that you understand that they're both 2 very different concepts, and they need 2 very different approaches in your business. So when we're looking at social media stuff, we've all heard everyone getting all very excited about the number of fans or the number of traffic hits that you're getting to people's websites, or the fans that you've got on your Facebook, or the followers you've got on your Instagram account. Ultimately, I'm going to be really honest, none of those numbers mean shit. What I call those is their vanity metrics, okay? They're the kind of numbers that make you feel really good, but they don't actually mean anything solid to the sustainability and profitability of your business or of your work or whatever it is, the organization that you're working in. Okay, I don't care about these set of numbers. And really, once you get past 200 fans on your page, you can do everything that you need to do to be effectively marketing on social media. So please don't buy into anything that is talking about boosting your fans or boosting your followers or generating hundreds of thousands of people worth of hits to your website, because unless they're the right people, it means absolutely nothing. So I'm going to walk you through exactly why. The biggest social media truth that I need you guys to understand is that social media, as much as it is designed to give us that feel-good hit, it's not a popularity contest, okay? And it's one of the more damaging things to come out of social media, I guess, is that people have it so strongly linked to their identity, and we get that sense of connection from all the likes and the hits and the shares and the follows and everything that happens on social media, instead of getting that connection in person. And again, you know, I'm over 40, so I'm thinking about back in the times when there was no internet. But it's really important for you to remember, when you're looking at using social media for your business, it's not a popularity contest. This isn't about getting as many likes and as many shares as you can. Ultimately, we need to be utilizing social media and leveraging it so that we can generate leads and then turn those leads into sales, which means income and profit for your business. And that means that you guys can put food on your table and pay for your horses, okay? Likes and shares and comments don't pay your bills. It's like that old joke about paying someone in exposure. Again, no one can eat exposure. You can't take exposure down to the supermarket and buy your dinner. So we actually need to be leveraging social media in order to generate leads and sales so that you can do more work about what you do. So I don't care how many likes and shares you've got on your Facebook page. I absolutely don't. Social media truth number 2. And this is something that does the rounds on a fairly regular basis whenever Facebook rolls out some changes. Facebook doesn't hate you, particularly if you're using Facebook from a business point of view. Whether you're a one-man band, whether you're a horse riding coach who's just promoting what you do, or whether you're running a fan page for a business or an organization, the changes that Facebook are bringing in over and over and like on a fairly regular basis, as much as they may seem inconvenient at the time, they are actually being brought in to benefit you, okay? The only asset, and this is a really big thing that we need to understand, and I use Facebook as an example, but this applies to all social media avenues, whether it's Pinterest or Instagram or Snapchat, whatever. The only asset these organizations have are the users. That's you, that's me, that's your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband, your friend. It's us individuals, okay? If we all left Facebook tomorrow, if there however many billions of users deleted our accounts tomorrow, Facebook as an organization, as a business, would be worth nothing, okay? So when Facebook are bringing in these changes, they're doing it to benefit the people for who they make their money from. And ultimately, that's us. That's the business owners. It's the people that pay for advertising. It's the people that pay for the marketing. So what they're doing when they're bringing in those changes is they're always trying to improve the user experience, the individual's user experience. They're trying to come up with better ways to engage those individuals, with ways to stop those individuals from leaving Facebook or deleting Facebook off their account or from going to someone else. They're trying to come up with new reasons and new features that will keep those users in that program, because they're really the only asset that Facebook or Instagram have are those individual users. That's the only way that they generate income, is by giving us advertisers the avenue to be able to reach those people, okay? And there's heaps of people that we can reach. And so what we should be doing with our social media, again, if we come back to those three components of what your business looks like, is Facebook is giving us an opportunity to reach a whole bunch of people who are potentially our prospects, who could become our customers and our clients. But we don't want them to just stay on Facebook, because the other thing we need to remember is that we don't own Facebook. If you're a business or an individual and you've got a business page or a fan page or whatever we're going to call it, you don't own that page. You don't own the content on there. You have no control over that. Facebook can decide to delete your page tomorrow if they think that you have breached any of their terms and conditions, okay? So as a smart business owner, what we can use social media for is to find the people that we think we want to work with. If we find the people that we think we can help, and then we take those people off Facebook and onto our own website or into our own database, or we have a conversation with them offline. Okay, that's where we really get the real power behind social media, is that it gives us all these amazing connections and it gives us this incredible reach, but then we need to leverage that the best way that we can. The third social media truth is that it shouldn't take hours and hours and hours. Again, this is something that comes up time and time again. I don't have time to do social media, or someone who spends hours a day on social media for no good reason. There's a couple of apps that you can use now to time your usage on social media, but if you are just updating your personal profile, your business page, or the business page for the people that you're working from, it shouldn't take hours and hours. One of the really good time-saving devices that you can put on there now in the Messenger feature is to put an automatic reply, because a lot of people get really hung up on replying to someone instantly on Messenger, okay? And again, this is something that I tell pretty much all of my clients to do, is to turn off their notifications on their phone, because it's a time-wasting interruption into your day, okay? So one of the really good things you can do is put one of those automatic responses in your Messenger feature on your business page, letting people know, thank you so much for getting in contact. We will get back to you within X number of hours, because this page is not monitored every hour of the day. Okay, so you're giving someone, you're recognizing that they've messaged you, and then you're giving them the context of when you're going to be able to get back to them. That's usually enough for most people. You can also put in, I usually tell people to put in, if it's urgent, here's my phone number. Okay, and if it is urgent, they'll pick up the phone and call. I think too many people are wedded to their phone and a slave to their notifications on their social media, and people are now starting to expect that. As long as you give people context, people don't mind waiting. As long as we know that you've received my message and I know that you're going to get a response, I'm going to get a response from you in 24 hours or 48 hours or 10 hours or whatever you decide to put there, that's fine. That's all we need to do. I don't want the social media to be taking up hours and hours of your day. You've got much better things to be doing in terms of your business. Now, this is another massive big furphy that does the round, that it's all about engagement. And engagement's not the key. Again, it's a vanity metric. It's something that makes you feel good. It's like, oh my God, so many people have commented or liked my post. All right, cool, but how much money did you make out of it? Okay, now that sounds like really, really quite crass, but ultimately that's where we need to be looking at the return on engagement of what you're doing, return on investment. Sorry, I was looking at the word engagement when I was saying that. We've got to look at the return on investment for any activity that you're doing in your business. Remember, everything that you do in your business, every activity must have a purpose. What's the end goal? So we don't want to be looking at those vanity metrics. We don't want to be paying attention. Yes, we want to be putting out engaging, creative, interesting, curiosity-invoking content, but that's not the only measurement that you need to be focusing on, okay? And don't buy into those stories that we get told about, well, it's all about engagement. You just need to get lots of comments and sharing, and then you'll build your profile and then people will buy from you. No, that's not how it works, okay? So don't get caught up in those vanity metrics. It's not about getting engagement from a whole bunch of random people either. We really only are interested in getting engagement or having a conversation with the person who is potentially your ideal client. Now, when I ask you who your ideal client is, and if you guys then come out and say, well, it's anyone with a horse, then we need to do a little bit of work on that, okay? Because anyone with a horse is a very loose definition of who your ideal client is. We need to do a little bit of work, and some of these questions are really helpful in helping you define who your ideal client is. Roughly what age are they? What gender are they? Where do they live? What kind of stuff are they worried about? Okay, so this is starting to think about right back in whether they're problem aware or whether they're completely unaware. Why, if they are problem aware, why do they want that problem solved? Maybe they've tried some different solutions before. What are their dreams? What are their goals? What are their ambitions? Once you've got a better idea around what is going on for these people in their heads, it makes it a whole lot easier for you to put together some content or an offer, or even just have a conversation with the right kind of people. And I'd much rather see you have a conversation with 5 of the right kind of people than 100 random people who aren't ever going to buy from you. Because if you're having conversations with 100 people who are never going to buy from you, that's a hell of a lot of time wasting. Whereas if you can have 5 conversations with 5 of the right kind of people, then that's a lot more efficient and a lot less wasteful of your time and effort. Social media truth number 5. It's not a toy. I know this is going to sound like old news now, but people still need to be reminded that social media is not a toy. It is actually a serious business tool. And, even though I've been advertising on Facebook for easily 8 years now, probably 9, actually doing paid advertising on Facebook, I'm still studying and learning to understand better all the many different features that it has for you to help you reach the right kind of people. It is a ridiculously powerful business tool. Now, I'm not suggesting that you guys go out and learn everything that there is to learn about advertising and marketing on Facebook, because you don't necessarily need to know everything. But you do need to have a basic understanding of what you're doing and why. So it comes back to having a clear idea of what your strategy is. So what that end goal is. Why are you on social media? Okay. Why are you there at all? Why are you there at all? Why are you putting all this time and effort into your social media accounts? What's the goal behind it? If it is to generate inquiries and leads and new customers, then what's the plan behind that? What are the tactics that you're putting in place in order to find those leads, in order to have those conversations with the right people? Then you look at the data, because that's the most powerful thing in business, okay? You go and do something, you figure out what worked and what didn't, and then you make changes from there. That's what data is, okay? If we're going to look at business again in a really broad spectrum, business is basically maths and psychology. Now, when I heard that, my heart sank because I was really shit at maths at school. But I've been in business for a little while now, and funnily enough, I love maths because it's true. Business is simply maths and psychology. It's getting into people's heads. That's the marketing side of things, and understanding what's going on for your client. And also, it's a massive personal development journey for yourself. So that's the psychology side of things. And then ultimately, it's maths. It's numbers. It's how much money do you put in for an ad? How many inquiries did you get? How many people did you make sales to? What was your profit? Okay, so data is really important when it comes to your social media and looking at where your return on investment is. And then being able to interpret that, that's what gives you the understanding. That's where you get the insights from on how you can use the tool better next time. Okay, what we were doing on social media even 2 years ago, we're doing very differently now, because things grow, our skills and abilities grow, your skills and ability will grow and change, and you'll be able to interpret that data and information better, get a clearer understanding, maybe even get a really big insight that will enable you to roll out your tactics even better next time. So I don't think I need to go over this again, but I will, just to nail it home. Likes don't equal sales, okay? All that work with all those comments and hashtags and everything else isn't necessarily going to guarantee sales. It may be a indicator of someone doing really well, absolutely. But I don't want you to just be chasing likes as the main metric that you're using to measure the success of what you're doing on social media. Okay, it's really, really important. So if what we're doing on social media is going to be marketing in its truest sense, you have to be utilizing it so that it will generate leads for your business. So that's inquiries, okay? So someone messaging you, someone emailing you, someone picking up the phone and calling you to find out more about how you can help them. And then your sales process is there to close the sales so that you can actually book that person in and you can help them with what you do. What most people miss is they forget that their social media is actually marketing, or they're not using it in that marketing tool for focusing around generating leads, okay? So what they're doing on social media is just random chatting for no particular reason, with no purpose behind it, with no sense of direction, no understanding who their ideal client is. So really they're not marketing at all. And then they're expecting a totally different outcome, okay? So it's really important that we remember that our social media is there for marketing. So just really quickly, our 5 truths that we went through. First off, it's not a popularity contest. I'm pretty sure you guys all get that by now. Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn or Snapchat or whatever, I guarantee you they don't hate you. They need you. Please don't spend hours and hours on social media. Utilize as many tools that you can to limit the time that you're spending on there, because it can absolutely be a time suck. We've all been there. We've all spent way too much time on social media, and we've all spent way too much non-productive time on social media. Engagement is not the key. I would much rather see you have 5 conversations with really good prospects than 100 conversations with random people. And then social truth number 5, it's not a toy. It's a very, very serious business tool, and a very complex one at that. So the best things in life are free, but the best things in your business are the ones that you invest in. So when we're looking at social media marketing, there's a whole bunch of stuff that gets thrown around about organic reach and organic, exposure for your posts, and it had these amazing shares. And absolutely, there's a bunch of businesses that have incredible success with that. It is very, very rare. Okay, and you have to have something that is so focused on your particular niche and really hit the button for them to be able to get that viral post, okay? And it is incredibly rare. So if you're building your entire business around the hope of an incredible viral organic post, bringing in the thousands of dollars, then I can actually think of a far better way for you to do it in the meantime, and that is to invest in advertising. Marketing is an investment, or it should be an investment. And when I use the term investment, I literally mean you put money in and you get money out. When it's an expense is when you're spending money on advertising or marketing and you're not getting anything back. We've all done that before, haven't we? We've all spent money on ads or posters or flyers or whatever, business cards, uniforms, whatnot, and we've spent all this money on something and gotten nothing back. That's when it's an expense, okay? But your marketing should be an investment. You should be able to just put $10 in and get $15 back, or put $10 in and get $100 back, okay? It should be an investment. You should be putting money in and getting money back out. So here's an example, a real life example from a genuine real business. They spent $110 on an ad for 7 days, which isn't a great deal of money. Now, I think their product that they were promoting was like a $120 product or something around that price point. And they got 12 sales directly from the ad. So I don't know, let's do the maths. Well, not $120, obviously, because the revenue on that was almost $1,800, okay? So they put $110 in and they got $1,800 back. Would you run that ad again? I would say yes, every damn day, okay? If you've got an ad that you can put $110 in and make $1,800 back, that's a pretty good return on investment. Now, as a result of that, the social results was we got the ad in front of 12,000 people. We picked up 23 new page likes. We got 102 people liking the post. 55 people commented and 18 people shared. Now, these really are the vanity metrics, and they're really a nice little side effect. But this is where the gold is, okay? And you guys can do this too. So here's a couple of other examples. This is an online retail business that spent $100 over a weekend that generated $550 in sales. Would you run that ad again? Yes, every damn day, okay? Absolutely. This one here is for a service provider. Now, for you guys who are service providers, your initial purchase or your initial sale with that customer might only be $50 or $80 or $65. But if you're looking for a client who you're going to be spending maybe 2 or 3 years with, and their lifetime customer value is right up here, then $2.50 to get someone to ring you and find out about what you do is a hell of a good investment, don't you think? And this is another one. $3.50 for a lead for an inquiry, and their average customer sale was $800. So that, again, is a pretty good return on investment. So this is where I said earlier, marketing, business is all about maths and psychology. This is the maths side of stuff, okay? And this is a really difficult thing because particularly when people go through, they go through a qualification and they come out as either an equine therapist, or they've come out as a writing coach, or even if they decided to open an online store, a lot of the time this side of understanding how their business works isn't what they've been taught so far. So you guys need to go out and find where to learn this stuff on your own, okay? Because quite often it's not part of your coursework, it's not part of your qualification. And this is where a lot of people struggle. So my suggestions when it comes to where to start with social media marketing, or where to really start to finesse your social media marketing if you're already doing it, is start with Facebook, okay? The reason, there's a whole bunch of reasons why, but for starters, there's a hell of a lot of users on Facebook, and I guarantee a hell of a lot of your prospects are going to be on Facebook. Not all of them, sure, but a hell of a lot of them. The other reasons why I say start with Facebook is that it is still relatively inexpensive for you to learn and experiment with your advertising and your marketing, and for you to learn how it works and how things fit together without spending a hell of a lot of money. You know, you can spend $50 or $100 even, not even $100. You could spend $20 on an ad on Facebook and know whether it worked or not. Whereas if you go and buy an advert and a quarter page ad in a print magazine, it's, you know, quite often $600. And you need to wait 3 months to work out whether that ad worked for you or not. So for advertising on something like social media, like Facebook or Instagram, you get pretty much instant feedback on whether what you've done with that advertising is working. And you can see really quickly what your return on investment is instead of waiting. And you know that you're reaching the right people if you're using it well, okay? If you're using it understanding how to utilize all the features that these applications offer us, then you can be really highly targeted. Then what I would recommend is you choose one, maybe two, if you're really comfortable with online stuff. Choose one or two other platforms that you know your ideal client uses. So for some of you guys, it might be Instagram. Okay, if you're looking for a particular age group, demographic, if you're looking for those millennials and also even the Gen Ys, Instagram is a really great place to hang out. If you're looking for Gen Ys and Gen X, maybe YouTube is a better place. Okay, do your people that you want to hang out with like watching videos, or are they more visually orientated and they like pretty pictures? Do they like having conversations? Are they going to be largely on Facebook? Pick one or two other platforms where your ideal client can be found and just have a play. Get the data, test stuff, see what works. It's that little thing of throwing something on a wall and seeing what sticks. You've got to work it out for yourself. But until you try, unless you actually do an activity, you won't have any data to make the right decisions around what works for you and what doesn't. I'm just going to keep barreling through, Christine. I'm assuming you're going to butt in if anyone's got any questions.
Yeah, there's one just come through, but I think you've kind of answered that in the slide that you were talking through. It's just, what are some of the other platforms you'd recommend as the easiest to start with for business owners?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I probably pretty much did. Go with Facebook and then really have a think about who your ideal client is and where they're going to be hanging out. It might be Snapchat. And look, I'm going to be honest, Snapchat is definitely not my favorite platform, but that might be where your ideal client are hanging out. So you're going to have to go and learn how to use Snapchat. Yeah, can't help you with Snapchat, that's for sure. It's not one of my favorite areas. But yeah, the answer to that question is going to depend heavily on who it is that you're trying to reach. So let's walk through, how are we going for time? Okay, cool. Let's walk through really quickly a little bit of a business page makeover. So this is going to be a couple of things that you guys can all jump off this webinar and go and do straight away. First off, I want you to get really clear on what is the purpose of your page. And you should all be able to answer this question now because I've already given you the answer earlier on in the webinar. The purpose of your page is there to generate leads and inquiries for your business. So we need to look at leveraging your page so that it can do that for you. And there's a number of different ways that we can do that. I would really like you guys to get into the habit of changing your cover photo every 2 to 3 months. This is the photo that comes up on the top of your page when you're looking at it on a computer, and you do get a version of it when you're looking at it on your phone or your tablet. But the reason why I want you to change this photo every 2 to 3 months is there's a really weird Facebook algorithm that when you change your cover photo, Facebook will show that change to more people who follow your page than any other post. Okay? It's actually really valuable real estate. So what I want you to do is I want you to change your cover photo, and a really good application, which is free, that you can design all these different cover photos that are going to be the right size, is a website called Canva. And I'm just going to type it into the chat box so that you guys can see it. Really awesome application. It's free. It has everything the right size, and you can design really cool little pictures like this, nice and simple. And then once you put the picture up, you need to change the description of the photo. And what I want you to put in here is a little promotion of what you do. Okay, so if you've got a clinic coming up, put a link to the clinic that's coming up. If you want people to call you and ask about your services or your products, tell them how to do that. If you've got a web store, put the link to your web store in there. If you've got a particular product you've just launched, put that in there. Okay, this is really valuable real estate because, like I said, more people who have followed and liked your page will see this than anyone else, than any other normal post on your page for nothing. Okay, it's going to cost you nothing to do that. So on my cover page, my cover photo that I've got up at the moment, I've got a little opt-in here where someone can get a free guide. Okay, if they want to know what the 4 key principles are to building a pet or equine business, they can click that link and it takes them to where they can download the guide for free. And more people who like my page saw that post than when I was posting about how cute Bessie looked under my desk that day. It's just a really weird little Facebook glitch, if you want to call it that, but it's something that you can leverage to your benefit. Now, the next thing is to keep on top of your profile imagery. Now, this is 2 examples. Obviously, this one fits really nicely, and this one here, they've just not paid any attention to it at all. Okay, it looks really crap. It's just, they quite often change the shapes of these, so you need to stay on top of them. And it's just, when people see it coming up in the feed, particularly if you're a one-man band, I would recommend oh yeah, okay, cool. Canva. It's probably www. I just typed in canva.com. You guys can find it. Okay, so yeah, so if you're a one-man band, I would highly recommend that you put a picture of you. Okay, a profile shot, a picture of your face, so that we know that we're talking to you as a person. If you're a larger organization or a brand, then absolutely put the logo in there. But if it's just you, even if you're trading under a name, I'd still recommend that we put your face there. Okay, because people are more likely to engage with your posts as they see them in the feed if they think that they come from a real person rather than from a business. We can become very immune to advertising and promotions on social media. So that's just another way to get around it. Now, staying on top of what you can put in your about section and the new little our story sections is quite useful as well. Now, what you can put in your about section will depend on how you set up your page. It will vary depending on what kind of page you have as to what information you're able to put in. Now, this business here has created their page as a local business, so they get a map. If you're not a local business, you won't get a map. You'll get a bunch of other things that you can type in here. But this is actually, again, very valuable resource, and Google references this stuff all the time. So you'll quite often find if you're doing a social media, if you're doing a search on Google for a particular thing, you'll quite often see their Facebook page come up before their website. Question about how often we should change the profile picture. Just as long as it's current and as long as it fits well. I wouldn't go about changing it a whole lot. I tend to not change mine very much, to be honest, as long as it fits and it looks appealing. Okay, so our story bit, this is the bit where we can have a little bit more of a story about what we do and what we're all about. It's it's literally on this side of your profile when you're looking on the computer, and you can jump in there and you can literally tell your story, okay? Don't say, we're an equestrian business and our aim is to bring you everything at a really affordable price and really conveniently and all that kind of boring stuff, okay? Because everyone does that. Tell us a little bit of a story about who you are and what you're about and who you're here to help and what's important for you guys, okay? Let's go to number 5. Again, when we're thinking about the purpose of your page, these buttons here, your messenger settings and your call to action buttons are really important, okay? So depending on what you want people to do with your page, which is pretty much generate leads, you're either going to want to put a button here that's going to get them to call you. So when they click on that, it'll dial you straight away, or visit your online store, or visit a website, or visit somewhere where you can capture their lead, or message them, okay? So what do you want them to do? When someone is on your page and they're really interested in what you do, what's the main thing that you then want them to do next, okay? For these guys, for Manners and More, they want them to call them, okay? So if they're looking on their phone or if they're looking on their computer, the big button here says call now. Call now to find out more about how we can help you, okay? And then they've also gone through and set up their messenger settings so that there's some automated questions here, and I know they've got an automated response letting people know that they're not always on Facebook, but they'll get back to them soon. When we're posting on your page, the pictures and videos do stand out more than just text. Okay, you all know that. It's the pictures that capture your eye. Okay, when you're scrolling through, stuff like this is going to capture your eye more than if we just had the text. Okay. Now, the really interesting thing about these pictures that I've posted is that they're both very blue. But in actual fact, you want to stay away from the colors blue. Why do you think they might be? Okay, what color is Facebook? Facebook is blue. So if we're using colors that aren't blue, so oranges and blacks and whites and reds, okay, it's going to jump off the page a whole lot more than if we're sticking with the old Facebook blue. So do use photos, do use videos, do use the carousels. They are what captures people's attention more so. One of the other slightly more advanced things that you can do is like other pages as your page. Now, if you're community-based or if you're very local-based, this is a really useful thing to do to connect with other businesses and other services in your community. But it's also a really good way for you to curate other pages that you know are generating really valuable content that you know that one day you're going to be able to share on your page. Okay, so when you come across a page that you like, it's really easy. You go to these three little dots here. It creates this little drop-down menu, and there's a line here that says like as your page. You click on that and you just select which page you want to like as. And then when you go to your pages feed, you can see all these different businesses that you've liked. And one day when you're feeling really bored and you know you have to put something on Facebook on your page, but you don't know what it is, you can see a really interesting post from someone like Dr. David Marlin or someone say, oh, that's a really interesting post. I'll share that because I know that my students who are eventing this weekend need to know more about how to cool down their horse. Okay, and you're sharing valuable content that's created by an expert. The insights reporting, I kind of have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. You can, again, get caught up in a real black hole around this stuff. It does give you some interesting data, but it's not necessarily all that valuable because, again, a lot of this stuff here is vanity metrics, right? It's how many new followers you've got, what was your reach, you know, how many people did stuff on the page, things like that. So have a look, but don't spend hours and hours there. So there's a difference between what we call curated and planned content. Curated content is stuff like this. So this is what I was talking about when you've liked someone else's page and you want to share their content. So Sophie Warren Equestrian here has shared a post from the Off the Tracks Thoroughbreds because this information here is information or a story or content that is of interest to their followers. Okay, they're eventers. There's going to be a whole bunch of eventers that follow this page. And as we know, there's a whole bunch of eventers that really like thoroughbreds. So this is what we call curated content. This is what we call planned content. So this person here, they knew that they'd written a blog. It had been published on a particular website, and they're sharing this content. Here, I've written a blog, go and check it out. It's actually promoting what they do in terms of preparing their dog for the arrival of a baby. So that's planned content. Planned content can be stuff like putting out content in the lead up to Equitana to promote that you're going to be there, or in the lead up to Adelaide 3-Day, or even in the lead up to Halloween or Christmas or things like that. Okay, that's more planned. And then the other form of content we have is the spontaneous stuff. And that's, look how cute my horse looks today, or look at the fun everyone's having in the office, or things like that. Okay, so there are 3 kinds of content that we want to be mixing up in terms of what we're putting on our page. What we don't want to be doing is selling every post. Okay, we don't want every post on your page, or every time you engage with your followers, or every time you try and have a conversation with the people who are interested in your page, if it's always buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, people are going to get really bored really quickly, and they're going to shut down to that very, very quickly. So you need a really good mix. Okay, it should be about 80-20. 80% should be planned, curated, or spontaneous content, and 20% is where you say, hey, I've got a clinic coming up. Hey, I've got saddlecloths on special. Hey, come and book in for this. Okay, but if you're doing that all the time, like I said, we are being bombarded with thousands of marketing messages a day. Okay, and we become very jaded to that, and it's really easy for us to glaze over and start ignoring a whole bunch of that stuff. So one of the ways that you can break through the clutter is by actually using social media in that real social manner. Okay, see it as a conversation with people. It's like we used to ring up our friends and say, hey, I saw this really good article in the newspaper, or did you watch that really cool show on TV? This is kind of, if we're looking at engaging with the people who follow our page in that same way, then that's what good social marketing should be. So social marketing that works is all about knowing your goal and having a plan. It's all about posting content that helps you develop the know, like, and trust between you and your prospects. Because a really important thing to remember is that if they know you and they like you, but they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. If they trust you and they know you, but they don't really like you, they're still not going to buy from you. Okay, so you've got to nail all 3 of those things. And by posting content, it helps you develop that relationship. It helps you develop the know, the like, and the trust. That's what your content should be there for. We're going to be following the 80-20 rule. So 80% good, valuable content, 20% selling. You're going to leverage social media to drive traffic to your website and to your opt-ins and to your booking pages and your web store. Okay, leverage what is available to us on social media and drive that traffic to your assets. We're going to set up opportunities so we can capture their details. We're going to have call to actions. We're going to have opportunities where they can give us their email address, where they can opt in for things. It's really important to know your lifetime customer value, and I haven't really touched on, well, I did briefly touch on that, but if you know what your lifetime customer value is, it answers the question of how much should I spend on my advertising? Okay, I get asked that question a lot. How much should I spend on my advertising? And the answer is, what's your customer worth to you? Okay, because if your customer is worth you $80, you can't be spending a hell of a lot of money on advertising to get that customer. Okay, because your profit margin is like nothing. But if your customer is worth you $2,000, $500, $7,000, you've got a lot more scope to move in terms of what you can do with your marketing spend. Okay, so understanding what your lifetime customer value is really important. The next number you want to know is what your average cost per lead is. Again, if your lifetime customer value is $80, it costs you say $10 for someone to make inquiry, and 1 out of 10 people buy, that means you're spending $100 to make 80. Okay, business is maths and psychology, and this is where a lot of people go wrong. They seem to have a hell of a lot of turnover, but they never make any money because they don't understand these numbers. This is the kind of stuff that I help my clients with, and it's really important that if you're going to build a sustainable business, that you understand a couple of really simple equations in your business, okay? And they're not nearly as scary as you think they are, I promise. Number 8, in terms of building social marketing that works, it's about investing in advertising, not just expending money in advertising so that it generates leads. And then you've got to actually make the sales. Now, I know everyone's terrified of the word sales and they don't want to be salesy and all the stuff that comes up around sales, but unless you make the sales, you cannot help people. Unless you book someone in, you can't help them. Making the sales is the most important step. I don't know why that slide's still there. So I want to walk through, I know we're getting on a little bit, but I want to walk you through this occupational health and safety stuff for social media really, really quickly, because this has been coming up a lot, and it's been really interesting to see over the last couple of days with the Melbourne Cup running and all the discussions and the debates that are going on around racing and ethics and all that sort of stuff at the moment. I think that we all need to be a lot more cautious of what we do and how we spend our time engaging in social media. What is healthy? What is productive? What is serving us? What is actually creating anxiety? What is creating stress? What is taking time away from more profitable areas of our business? Okay, these are really important questions that I want you guys to have a think about in terms of the way that you're interacting with your social media. These are my rules, okay, when it comes to social media. And some of them sound really obvious, but even I sometimes catch myself breaking this first rule. Don't say anything on social media that you would not say to their face, okay? Now, usually I've typed something in when I've been really angry about something that someone's put, and then I've gotten to the end of it and I've just gone to hit return and I've read it and I've gone, you know what? I don't think I'd be brave enough to say that to their face. And then I hit delete, okay? It's a really simple one. I mean, how many things have you seen on people's posts or comments where people are sharing and you've read them and you've just gone, oh, that's really harsh? I guarantee you the person who wrote that post would not say it to someone's face. And if we can take those kind of posts off social media, we're going to lose a whole bunch of that really aggressive, bullying, horrible side of it, okay? So it's a really big rule. Don't say anything on social media that you wouldn't say to their face. And look, I know that Equestrian Australia has its own social media policy and all the stuff, and I do recommend that you guys go and engage with that, particularly if you're competing and engaging in all those kind of environments. But, you know, these are just some really basic rules. And, you know, this came up for me this year because I had a couple of my clients were exposed to some really poor experiences on social media this year that essentially came down to bullying, and they were made in fairly anonymous groups, and no names were mentioned, but the stuff that people were saying behind people's backs was horrific. And my little angry mama bear came out and I got really angry and really defensive for all my clients. But this stuff is not good enough anymore, and we all need to take responsibility for how we are engaging with other people, remembering these are people. So these rules are really important to me. You need to set some boundaries, okay? Set boundaries around your own time, your own emotional investment into stuff that's going on social media. Decide for you what is healthy for you. Okay, and what is healthy for you might be very different from the next person. Now, personally, I've actually deleted Facebook off my phone. I now only engage with Facebook on my computer because I decided it was no longer healthy for me to have it on my phone and have it available 24/7. So set what boundaries works for you, okay, and make some decisions around that. Play by the platform's rules. This is a really big one, okay? Facebook does have terms and conditions, as does Instagram, as does Snapchat, as does YouTube. Follow the rules, or you can get your accounts deleted without warning. If you're playing in their playground, you've got to follow their rules, okay? Now, on the same token, You can set your own rules for your business page, for your groups, for your events, whatever it is. And if someone is not behaving within those rules, then draw that line in the sand and set those boundaries up. Okay? Don't take any shit, particularly on your business page. Okay? Set your own rules and follow them. The last one there is to be more empathetic. And this is a really important one. Okay? This is all about understanding that when we're engaging with people on social media, we are engaging with people. Okay? It's about respect. It's about understanding that people have different perspectives. They've had a different experience to you. They're not on the same journey as you. So we need to be a little bit empathetic. And by being more empathetic, that can help create the curiosity that can encourage change. Okay, you're not going to change someone's mind by yelling at them and telling them that they're wrong. But you can create change by validating their previous experience and telling them a story that fascinates them enough for them to want to find out more. Okay? We want to be more empathetic. It's a really important rule. So when we've got stuff going on, if someone raises a complaint or they leave a bad review on your page or whatever it is, address the concern. Okay, not the I've got a question here. I'll come back to that one in a second. Hang on. Address the concern, not the individual. Okay, so if someone's making a complaint or they've left a bad review, don't bag out the individual. Address the concern. But on the other hand, if the person's being a complete knob, I have absolutely no problems with blocking and deleting that post. Okay, and I've done it on a number of occasions. There's nothing wrong with setting your own rules and your own boundaries and blocking and delete. So the question that someone asked was, what are some of the rules that I see people breaking? If we're looking at rules, okay, so if we're looking at rules in the context of following like Facebook's rules, one of the most common rules that I see being broken are the competitions where it says, oh, you can win a saddlecloth. All you need to do is like, tag, and share to win blah, blah, blah. Okay? That is massively against Facebook's rules. And yes, everyone does it. Okay? Well, not everyone, but a lot of people run those competitions, the like, tag, and share. And sure, if you're a little company, the likelihood of Facebook coming across it and manually seeing it and giving you a caution or deleting your page is probably fairly minimal, but it is against the rules. And the reason it's against the rules is because it's ruining the user experience. Okay? If the condition of entering a competition is that you're telling them to like, tag, and share, okay, then that's telling them, okay, you can't enter the competition until you do these things and promote my business. And Facebook sees that as ruining the user experience. Okay, so that's why those like, tag, and share competitions are actually illegal. And if you are running those kind of competitions for your business, stop doing it now, because you could get your page deleted without warning. There are other ways that you can get that kind of exposure and that kind of reach and that kind of engagement for your business without breaking the rules. In terms of breaking personal rules for your page, you can block and delete people that are being abusive or argumentative or sweary or sexist or racist or whatever it is, okay? I have no problems with blocking and deleting people that are breaking my personal rules and my personal values on my business page. It was only a couple of weeks ago that I had to do it. Some guy went to town with me on a feminist comment and it was not working out well, so I just blocked and deleted, and that was all happy. Okay, that's my boundaries. Another really important one is don't like and follow your competitor's page. Okay, that just leads to stress and anxiety, particularly if you're really hung up on what they're doing, and you compare yourself to them all the time. What I want you to do after you get off this webinar is go and unlike those pages, okay? If it's creating stress or anxiety, or it's simply annoying you, take yourself away from that, okay? Unfollow those pages. Don't get involved in those arguments. If someone, even if it comes down to a person, right? If it's an individual, or there's a particular group that you're in, or there's a chat that someone's invited to you in Messenger that's inducing stress or anxiety or is simply making you angry, get out of it, okay? You have the choice. It is absolutely up to you. And if you choose to stay in that stressful environment, awesome. Again, your choice. But you don't have to, okay? And if you're interested in getting a little bit of mental clarity back and having a slightly more healthy relationship with social media and what's going on, I encourage you to unfriend and unfollow people or pages who make you stressful and anxiety. And I encourage you to not follow or like competitors' pages if it's going to cause you stress and anxiety as well. Now, if stuff comes up on social media, if it's someone abusive, if someone's created a fake account, which again has happened to one of my clients over this year, they've created some fake Instagram accounts. If someone's doing anything abusive or aggressive, if someone is threatening you, you have to deal with the stuff, okay? The first thing you do is you screenshot it and keep it. You report it through every avenue and channel that you can, and then you block and delete those buggers, okay? Get it out of your life, get it sorted. With Instagram stuff, it can be really difficult. Facebook is a lot easier to report things, particularly around abuse and aggression. Although if you ask Clementine Ford, not necessarily, particularly when it comes to private messages, but screenshot it, file it away so it's not in front of you, report it, and then block and delete. Okay, just move on and get rid of the stuff. Argumentative posts, if someone is picking an argument or picking a fight with you on social media, again, there's two ways that you can deal with this. You can have a bit of fun with it and bat them back, right? And just sort of play with it, because that'll get you a hell of a lot of reach on that conversation. And if you're pretty happy with that getting a whole bunch of reach, then have a play with it. If it's only going to cause you stress and anxiety and make you unhappy, block and delete, okay? If it's someone who's being really abusive, again, screenshot it, then block and delete. Again, I did that recently. Had someone mansplaining something to me, and I just went, oh, I can't be bothered. Block and delete, okay? The other thing you need to do, particularly when it comes to bad reviews and comments and things like that, is address the concern, not the individual. And yes, if you've got a review feature on your page, more than likely you're going to get some fake reviews at some stage. And if you're getting a fake review, those horrible one-star reviews that always show up first, the best response is, I'm sorry, I don't think you've ever actually bought anything from me. Is this a fake review? Okay, just call it out for what it is. If it is someone who you know is being nasty or someone who has genuinely had a bad experience, then address that bad experience and try and make it better. I've got another question here. Let me just have a look. Yeah, if you share posts, okay, so good question. I have found, this is the question, I have found if you share posts to lots of groups, Facebook gets cranky with you and blocks you. Any tips? Again, okay, so think about it from Facebook's point of view, okay, and their user experience. No, they don't like you sharing the same post to a whole bunch of different groups, okay, because essentially that's spam. Right? So it's kind of like when you used to send spam emails to everyone who's in your email list, just because you wanted to get the message out to everyone in your email list. And you'd send out an email to thousands of different people, of people who'd only ever emailed you once about something, ever. Or you've gone and sourced a whole bunch of emails off the internet, which is even worse, okay? Facebook views sharing a post to a whole bunch of different groups as spam. They treat it as the same thing. It's damaging to the user experience, if you're going to think about it that way. And it's not really playing by the rules. The purpose of the groups, the way that Facebook has created those, is to be a private community for conversation, okay? To share stuff, to share debates, to build community. It's always about building community. So if you've got one post that's advertising or promoting a particular thing and you've shared it in a bunch of different groups, Facebook sees that as spam. Okay, they don't see that as being community building. They don't see that as adding value to the conversation. So if you want to get around it, do a couple of groups a day. Okay, don't do 15, 20 groups all in one day, one after the other. If you really want to share that post across 15, 20, 50 different groups, do it couple on Monday, couple on Tuesday, couple on Wednesday. Really, a better way to do it is to come up with a better way to communicate in those groups, okay? That's based around adding value rather than just sharing the same post over and over and over and over and over again in a group which is supposed to be more of a community than your page. Your page is there for advertising, okay? Groups aren't really there for advertising. So when business pages share posts in groups again and again and again, that's why you get slapped for it, okay? Hope that's cleared that one up. Okay, I think this is the last slide. Maybe it's not, but it could be. But the biggest thing here is when it comes to social media, occ health and safety is this is all about protecting your mental health, okay? This is all about protecting your mental health. And we all know the incredible stresses and strains, the amount of information that is thrown at us every single day. And if you're running your own business, the level of responsibility that is on your shoulders is off the charts. So it's even more important for you as a business owner to be absolutely ruthless with your boundaries and your rules around how you interact with social media. Okay, this is something I feel really strongly about, particularly after this year where I've seen clients have, like I said, fake Instagram accounts set up in their name, which were basically slander. I've had people being bullied in private groups. And again, not through any fault of their own. One of them was a vindictive ex-partner. So, yeah. This stuff is really important, and we all know the consequences of what can happen as a result. So be very strict with your boundaries and be very firm to your rules, because social media is here to stay. It is a tremendously valuable tool for you to use in your business. It can help your business grow immeasurably, and for still, like I said, very low investment in terms of dollars. But you need to be very protective around your own mental health and your own boundaries and your own rules. So, do we have any other questions? Because that's kind of at the end of where I got, and that's not too bad. I'm not too over time. I'm a little bit over time. Any other questions?
That's all of the questions at the moment, Anita.
Cool. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Anything else that's come up or anything that they want to ask about? Anything, maybe something a little bit more particular with their own page or their own experiences this year? It's been really interesting to see what's been going on with the racing commentary over the last couple of days. No other questions?
Just one, which I can probably answer. So somebody missed the first half an hour. Can they listen back somewhere later? Yes, you can. So it has been recorded and we'll get it uploaded onto the Equestrian Queensland website, hopefully by the end of the week.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys having me along. If you want some more information, I do have a whole bunch of tips and tools and articles that you can download from my website, which is on screen there, getupandgallop.com.au. I also do run professional development workshops, essentially, for horse riding coaches under the banner, the Coaching Excellence Alliance. And I'm actually running the next one of those the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday after Equitana. They're my little passion project. If you're a coach and you are interested in developing yourself professionally in a ridiculously supportive, encouraging, and amazing environment where we address the welfare of the horse, the safety of the rider, and the sustainability of your business, the Coaching Excellence Alliance is the place for you. And again, you can find out information for that on the website, or if anyone wants to email me afterwards, it's anita@getupandgallop.com.au. Really easy to find. Thanks so much for having me, Christine.
Great, thank you so much. I think everyone's learnt heaps. We've got lots of thank yous that have come through. Thank you for your time tonight. Learnt a lot, and I'm looking forward to putting it into practice. So, yeah, I'm sure everyone's learnt lots and lots, and I'm sure that most people will go back and re-watch this because you covered a lot of things. But yeah, certainly I would highly recommend you get on Anita's website and look at her tips and articles. She's got a couple of Facebook groups that you can join. So yeah, get in touch and learn all you can from her.
And go and do your business page makeover. Check your page and make sure it's all leveraged the best that it possibly can be.
Oh, another question, will you be at Equitana?
I will be, but I'm not there with a stand this year, which is kind of cool. I'm going to be there having a good time. I will be there helping a client, so I'll be on the Horse Herbalist stand in the Epsom Hall Friday and Saturday, giving Angela Davison a hand. And you may actually also find me helping out a couple of other stands. But I will be walking around, and yeah, if you wanted to catch up for a coffee or whatever, you can find my number on the website, give me a call, and we can always arrange to meet while we're there.
Great. Well, thank you so much again. You've been so generous with your time, and so we'll get this recording up on the website as soon as possible so that everyone can rewatch it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Christine. Everyone, I hope everyone has a great night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.